Welcome back everyone to the Block 44 podcast, where we are going to every stadium across the country to meet their fans and ask them about their opinions on world football. Today we have Theo. Theo, how long have you been a Saints fan for?
I've been a Saints fan ever since I was born. It's ran in the family. My poor mother always says if I only supported Liverpool, you'd be a Liverpool fan, it'd be nice and easy.
Yeah, it's character building, isn't it?
It is character building, and I think, you know, it's genuinely, it's the resilience you've built up after 10 years. I think there's a Sport Bible poll which ranks Southampton as the hardest done by fan base. Yeah. I've seen two. I was in this bowl when we lost 9-0 against Leicester.
Yeah,
in that rainy October day.
I left at half time.
I've stayed the full 90 minutes, mate.
But
Did
you?
yeah,
Why?
character building. Character building.
I mean, that is an extreme of character building. That's not my personal take, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And obviously you're there to watch your recovery when we got to the playoff final and won at Wembley.
Yep.
What a day that was.
That was genuinely, I think, the last day I think we did not make a mistake in a game that I can remember.
Yeah.
And do you know what? And that just worries me. But what a day that was in general, yeah.
Can you describe your feelings from that game?
Well, that game, to be honest with you, I don't remember much of it because I was horribly drunk. Yeah, but I remember I was, you know what, it was just a day getting into London, getting on the train in the middle of town, and then you see all the Saints fans gradually coming up, and it was such buzz around the day. And, you know, when I walk into St Mary's, normally, you know, everyone comes at their different times, but even then there was, 45,000 people, Saints fans, cheering on the badge, and I think we were so united as a club. I think Russell Martin's first season kind of galvanized us all together, and it was a must-win game, and to be fair, he delivered.
He did.
Yeah, and the chance going say hello to Pompey, to the Leeds fans, not working out now, but...
no, it's not. Well, can you describe, so since that day, I think we're just over 500 days later. Can you describe your feelings over the past nearly 2 years as a Saints fan? Obviously, from that high at Wembley to now.
I think it's changed. Of course, I think when I think previously we were getting away. We have been quite a relegation scrap club, and I think, you know, this kind of year was a wake-up call. So I think a lot of owners that the Prem is just levels above the Championship. I think that year of the promoted clubs going straight down for third consecutive year. Second consecutive year, the promoted clubs going down, I think gave a wake up just how difficult the Prem is nowadays. And there's such a gap between that and the Championship. And that whole year, it was frustrating. I think you'll agree. I just remember to Russell Martin, he wasn't adaptable. And he kind of stuck with his philosophy and trying to watch Joe Lumley pass it out the back. Bless him, but it was never going to happen. No. And it was frustrating, and I just genuinely thought this could have gone so much better. This couldn't have gone any worse. I mean, you know, we were 1 point off being the worst team in Premier League history. Yeah. And then watching a new manager come in, and it's the same again when Nathan Jones took over. Ivan Juric gone after a few games and appointing the assistant, and that clearly going really well. It was just genuinely like between that playoff final and the current day now, there's not been much enjoyment. I think the only enjoyment I remember was watching when we drew to Man City.
Yes.
When we got that 12 point. That was, I think, my favourite day.
I went nuts that day.
That was genuinely, it was a draw, a 0-0 draw. But considering we were so defensively fragile that season.
Yeah.
But to get a 0-0 draw against Man City, you weren't having the best of days, but Man City getting a 0-0 draw, mate, such a good day.
Also the fact we celebrated becoming the second worst team, in Premier League history instead of being the joint worst.
What was that tweet that we put out? It was the official Southampton Football Club, the most shameless tweet ever.
Oh, the one about Derby.
To say, unlucky lads, until next year. Oh, it's so shameless.
Next time. Well, I mean, Wolves are going to come close to that this year. They've only got a couple of points right now.
Yeah, it's worrying, and there kind of in the same predicament as we were. I think they're still owned by Fushin, the Chinese owners. Yeah. Who it's the reason why Yao didn't work when we was previous owners, because the Chinese government just stopped football investment.
Oh, is it the Chinese government don't allow
I think they were.
investment?
Fact check this, but I think over the time when the Chinese Super League was all of a sudden good, and now it's stopped. Big clubs are going bankrupt in China because they can't be bankrolled anymore, but they still have those massive wages on the book. They don't make those transfers anymore, and Wolves have not invested to what they were doing. You know, buying that Championship season, having Ruben Neves and, you know, Rui Patricio and just like those sorts of players in that Wolves team. And now seeing they've sold too many players.
But they haven't replaced a single one of them.
They've not replaced a single. Lost Cunha, just mental, and he's running games for United now.
Yes,
Such a massive
It was
loss.
a good signing for United. I think.
Yeah.
Really good signing. So obviously we've gone over what it feels like to be a Saints fan during last season, becoming the second worst in Premier League history. However, I think that says a lot about the quality of our fan base.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't know about you, I'll ask you in a second, but I would have said Southampton had the best set of fans in the league last year. Who do you think had the best set of fans in the Premier League last year?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, we were at the end of the day. I still think we have got a really solid fan base. I'm not even this year. If you look at it, we had the third highest attendance of the Championship. We're behind Coventry and Leicester. Coventry, of course, smashing it with Frank Lampard at the moment.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
To be fair, I do apologise to Frank Lampard. I think I'm going to be filling out a load of apology forms today, but Frank Lampard's one of them. But I think our fan base come in, week out. And it is just impressive that we are still doing good numbers. And to be fair, we were doing really well compared to the season we went down. I think we were having similar attendances to that, and we were doing so poorly.
Well, even last season in the Premier League, we sold out every single away game when we knew how bad we were.
The
when
away
we were going
fans
down.
this season.
The away fans have been incredible.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I think genuinely, you look at those tier lists of away fans, and I genuinely think Saints are up there.
100%.
The only away game I went to last year, well, apart from Wembley, which was again unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just having that kind of energy around the ground. Admittedly, we were all under one front, but I went to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup 3-0 down, but singing constantly throughout.
Are you at Liverpool as well?
Liverpool 3-0
Yeah,
Carabao Cup. Not this season, the year before.
Season before.
Yeah.
with
But
Russell
going
Martin
to
in
that
charge.
genuinely, when I think Shea Charles scored that offside goal, mate.
We did.
That first
the
minute.
scenes in that first bit when we thought we were 1-0 up. Yeah.
And genuinely, we played. It's a story of Russell Martin. We played quite well.
It was good football.
I had to think,
It was good football.
we could have got a goal or two in that. But no, I think the Saints fans turn up thick and thin. I think it's a shame that those away fans have moved a bit, because you watch some of the
really
clips.
like that.
Shout out Jason's football page. I love him to pieces. You could just he's a guy who just films the Saints fans, and you see him on my Instagram feed. And I tell you what, you see some of those just videos, and it's just the funniest stuff.
Yeah.
And mate, they're clearly. I don't go away football. I think a lot of people in comments going, "What's this guy talking about? I don't go away matches." I don't have the time, but I wish I could. But it just seems some of the stuff I see. I think generally having selling out constant allocations in the Premier League, worst season ever, and having that dedication to still take numbers up to Newcastle to sit in a terrace miles away.
Yeah, because these away games aren't close. We are right on the south coast, the furthest away from everyone that you could possibly be in the Premier League. Well, on par with Bournemouth and Brighton, obviously. But nowhere is a close away day.
No. But I'd say, when close means like a 2-hour train on London, and those trains being hot and sweaty, I don't blame some fans who sometimes go, do you know what, I'll sit this one out. Yeah. But the fact we just kept on selling out, mate, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. And being the hardest done by fan base in the Prem, probably, statistically being found out. I think to still have the atmosphere that we had against, I think at the beginning of games, when we are keen for it, and we're still having that atmosphere, even after everything that's happened, I think it's really impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I think being a Saints fan has been tough. It is character building, that is a fact. But where do you think it went wrong? Because obviously, it feels like a lifetime ago, but it wasn't actually that long ago when we had Ronald Koeman and he led us to our first ever European season.
Right. It's a question. I'm going to ask you first. When do you reckon the club went downhill? When do you reckon? Because there were so many answers to this.
There are. I mean, you could take it back from when we sold everyone after when that Ronald Koeman season happened, when obviously he left, Mane, Tadic, Tadic left a couple of years after, but Van Dijk, and everyone just seemed to sort of leave. But the main turning point for me, I'd probably say, is sacking Ralph. Because it was that season where it all went wrong in the Prem that sent us tumbling down the pecking order, really. But you could argue it went as far back to the Ronald Koeman days, because at the end of the day, we didn't replace our team well enough. No.
But I reckon during that Koeman season, of course, when you're a club like Southampton, you are realistically gonna have to do a buy and sell model, and that did work. And we got, even when we came up, we're getting rid of Lallana, Luke Shaw, and then we replaced. I wouldn't say we replaced them well, but we did replace them, and we still kept on going and having that kind of second.
Kept climbing up the league,
And I'd even say throughout the whole time, we've still had some good recruitment players. If you can think back, we've had Lavia, Livramento, kind of during that. I think they were last Ralph years. I think. In the Premier League.
That was, but Ralph was sacked. That was the season we got relegated. So Ralph got sacked at the start, and then That's when it all.
It was. I think the unfortunate issue is when I think the club started going wrong when Claude Puel went, because Claude Puel was the manager who we still were 8th place roughly.
Yeah,
we went to a Carabao Cup final.
He did.
And then the first season with Pellegrino was the one where we started going down, and then having Mark Hughes and having those sorts of managers where it just seems so negative. I think that's when we started realising that we are now a relegation scrap.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it started going poor. I think Ralph was a good appointment. He took Leipzig to 2nd place, literally just before he came to Southampton. And then again, when he was sat, I think it was such a negative thing.
Yeah, I thought Ralph did do really well with us.
I think Ralph did wonders.
Really, really well.
Would you have him back?
I would.
Yeah.
I'd take Ralph. Would you take Ralph back?
Ooh. If I was in the mindset of Sport Republic, it would feel like a backwards move. But it wouldn't necessarily be the wrong backwards move.
Yeah.
Hiring Russell Martin back again, complete wrong move. I don't think it will happen.
No, that won't happen.
Yeah.
I think Alfie House with the club said that won't happen.
No, but I'd say back to the Ralph eras of the relegations. There was some good recruitment out of that year. We sold Lavia for 60 million. We sold Livramento for 30 to Newcastle. I think we still had that kind of glimpses of good recruitment. I think it was just a shame to kind of get rid of Ralph when we did, and captain hindsight, of course, hiring Nathan Jones. He's doing well. Another apology for him. He's doing well at Charlton.
That's the interesting thing, because it's like we had that sort of Manchester United effect where people would come to our club and just dive bomb, then they'd leave and then start doing well again.
So yeah, but I think you'll get onto it later about kind of why all these managers are doing poorly. Because we've Will Still, Russell Martin, Nathan Jones. Ivan Jurek as well.
Yeah.
He was doing well at Torino before us, and now he's kind of done a nosedive.
Well, he got sacked by Torino, didn't he? Before he came to us.
Well, I'm not sure, but I think he's being sacked by Atalanta already.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's just been sacked by Atalanta.
Goodness me.
Yeah, he went there, took Sulemana with him.
Sulemana with him, thank God.
Well, I think he's done quite well there as well since he's been there.
I read a stat, and he's one of the most successful. He's completely one of the most successful take-ons of this calendar year in the Premier League.
Yes.
He's not played since
I thought
May.
He's still like 6th or 7th in that
table. 6th or 7th in that table with about 30 odd.
Yeah, he did have glimpses of good football. It wasn't always, admittedly, but
But I think back to the idea of where the club went badly, got onto Ralph, got relegated, and then we saw glimpses with Russell Martin, and I think as much as he had that kind of galvanised period that we've mentioned about how the fans have been kind of brought back together in that playoff final, which was such a magical day, I think having that sort of faith that we did when we didn't really had that with Ralph. Well, you say that he lost 9-0 twice, but
he did, yeah.
To have that faith with Russell Martin and then for it to kind of go that poorly when he wasn't even anywhere near changing the style of play, I think that was such a poor decision to kind of keep him, and that's when I think that's when a lot of people started losing faith with Sport Republic.
Yeah, they did, but I mean the interesting thing about Russell Martin is he went 25 games unbeaten in the Championship season before last, obviously on our promotion push, and that's no easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. And although yes, he probably should have adapted a bit more, do you think the style of play worked? What do you think ultimately impacted his sacking? Because obviously we did have some injuries. Ramsdale was probably the biggest one of them all.
Massive, yeah. Do you remember playing in the Championship? And when you can play in the Championship, you can get away with a lot more than you can in the Prem. But when we were playing in the Championship, I still remember watching so many mistakes. Even when we were on that, we were flaky in defence. We let in numbers. And I looked at that team and I went, we're playing well, but we're in the Championship at the end of the day. The standard is, again, there is such a gap now that the best players in the world, Granit Xhaka winning the title with Leverkusen, now goes to Sunderland. That is the gap we're talking about. That's the quality of the Prem. We were still making mistakes during Russell Martin ball in the Championship. And they were going to get, and they weren't necessarily penalised in the Championship, but in the Prem, we've seen it. We made mistakes, and they get pounced on. But
we also had our attack to rely on in the Championship, whereas not so much in the Prem.
And that's where I think you talk about 26 games unbeaten in the Championship. Is that impressive? Yeah, but we're meant to be doing stuff when we were favourites to go up.
We were. Yeah, we were. I do understand that, but I mean, to go 25 games unbeaten still does show some form of defensive.
Yeah, it shows you're getting something right.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there have been lots of problems going forward. I think Ramsdale plugged a big hole that we had, because obviously I personally quite like Gavin Zunu.
Yeah.
But obviously Aaron Ramsdale is a cut above.
And I think, to be fair to Gav, this is again interesting decision making. Went straight up into the Premier League from League One in his first season.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely, his confidence was really impacted then. I think generally in his championship season he was doing really well.
Yeah, I
that
agree.
Preston should have been a goal. It was unlucky for him to not score that.
It was.
But mate, I think he was on fans' favourite then.
Yeah.
I think during the championship he was injured. In the Premier League, sorry, he was injured quite a lot. I think.
Yeah, he was.
And
yeah,
then,
he has been unlucky with injuries.
Yeah, and I think he has been unlucky with his confidence. And he should at this point in his age and his development, he should be comfortable in the championship. We're not really seeing that at the moment.
No, but I think with everything that's gone on over the last few years, it's enough to knock anyone's confidence through a floor, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know where we were, to be honest with you.
Well, it doesn't matter where we were. Let's take it to now, in the current state of affairs. So Will Still has been sacked. We have just won our first back-to-back games in over 500 days. We've scored 3 goals in a game for the first time in over 500 days.
More wins than managers at one point until very recently.
Yeah, now we have more managers than wins in a period, don't we? So there's been a lot going on. So how would you take what's going on right now, obviously with everything that has gone on, but also going forward? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think Eckert's going to get the job, or will it go somewhere else? I mean, the fans made it very clear on the weekend, no Gary O'Neill.
Oh, of course, and I think Sport Republic, if they do hire Gary O'Neill, which they won't,
not
won't.
a chance.
But if they did, I think that would be genuinely, there would be no backing them. I think, having that much of an opinion on a manager constantly chanted till the last minute of the game, genuinely I think they know it's a no-go, and that's a good thing.
But I think, again, go back to Alfie, spoke to the club and said they rubbished it anyway.
Yeah.
There may have been rumours, but obviously after the weekend...
Clearly not.
Absolutely not. I think with his Pompey links, but even as his abilities as a coach, he's probably, definitely not the right choice.
I've looked at his win rate in the Prem. It's not even been anywhere near kind of numbers you really need to stay up.
I've spoken to some Bournemouth fans when he was there, and they said avoid Gary O'Neill at all costs.
I think Wolves would say the same. Well, a lot of them would.
Yeah.
But I think, would you say Tonda should come in?
No.
And I think, I always say this, it's sod's law that he looks like Ruben Sellers. And I think
it is,
the fact he looks like Ruben Sellers, the exact same scenario as Ruben Sellers. And we've I think we're one of the only teams who I've seen Sport Republic, I've seen who've hired their assistant managers quite a lot. And I think with Ruben Sellers, we had that one game against Chelsea, very scrappy, 1-0, quite scrapes.
We had the Arsenal game though, where we nearly won.
Nearly, coulda, woulda, shoulda at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We've had so many of those nearly win games. I think Russell Martin's had so many nearly win games.
He has. I think it's a shame about Ruben. I thought that there's a good coach in there, but obviously very young, very underdeveloped, and took over the club at a very bad time. It was never ever going to go in his favour.
And it was a poor decision to take over a club. We weren't as in a state as I'd say we were, but taking over a club at that point where they were kind of, teetering on relegation, probably pretty much confirmed, but hiring such an unexperienced manager in that state is clearly not going to work. And, he clearly, when he went to Reading, and, it's League One, and he was Reading are a respected club, and he won, but he still did really well considering the administration issues.
It looks like he's done well and been liked everywhere he's been since he's left us.
Except Sheffield. We're not talking about Sheffield. Though.
No, but then again, Sheffield at the moment, the state of affairs there, speaks for itself. Really.
I just think the fact that Tonda looks like Sellers, I know that's not a reason, but he looks like Sellers. It's kind of sod's law that he's in the exact same position as Sellers. It might end up, if we make a rush appointment, it might end up in the same situation, hiring an unexperienced manager.
Yeah. I can see in the future one day Tonda becoming first team manager. Yeah. I don't think that should be now. I think right now we need an experienced, well-known name who can get us to the playoffs still this season, because there's still over 30 games to go.
I think the last time I remember in football an assistant manager doing really well was Solskjaer against Man United. And even then, he had to win 5 games on the bounce, win most of his games in the first, even before he got considered for the job.
Yeah.
And I think we need to... I do feel sorry for Sport Republic at this time, because it's the international break. If you're going to hire a manager, it's the best time to hire it earlier on and get them started. Whereas, it's now that dilemma, do you stick with Tonda with the results doing well? Admittedly against 2 relatively poor sides.
I don't think that the opposition aren't good enough. From what, you probably feel the same, from the performance I saw on the pitch, it's not convincing enough. Still, even a win's a win.
I think
great, but the performance isn't there yet.
I think again, it's half a bit of a fragile mentality amongst the club, which is going to take years to sort out.
Yeah.
I think some players have to go. I'm not going to mention names. Maybe we should admit it, but not now. But
we can talk about that after.
We'll talk about that after. But I think, in terms of what I looked at against Sheffield Wednesday, I thought that first half, bar that horrible error,
yeah,
we would have been 2-0 up, and I would have gone to the half time, and I think I said to you, it's not a bad performance. However, that second half was dire. I think they had most of the momentum in the game.
They did.
And it's Sheffield Wednesday. They are, they should be relegated. They're in administration.
They even
Half
had
their
Jan
players
Valery
gone.
in midfield.
Jan Valery is a
struggling
number 7.
to fill players in the right positions as well. It's the club is in a dire situation.
Yeah, and I think the fact we didn't wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, it says a lot. I mean, we can't take anything away from Tonda. He's come in a very hard time.
Yeah.
I think the main thing letting everyone down is probably the mentality of the players, but there are so many reasons why that is probably where it is.
I think that starts from Ralph era. I
Yeah.
think from even when you remember that classic, when every time we played on Sky Sports and I watched and tuned in, and it was like points lost from most positions, Southampton would always be at the top, and I'd still say we probably are.
Yeah.
But watching that, and then we were losing 9-0, but then we went on a wonder run. We were so inconsistent. I think the ideology of getting away with it, and going into Russell Martin, he's clearly a charismatic bloke. I remember speaking to him once or twice outside the stadium, and he seemed like a really nice guy.
Really lovely guy. Yeah.
He's got a bit of an ego, admittedly. Of course, he kind of thought, you know what, I can do Rangers, I'll sort that sweet, I'll play my football in the Premier League because I think I'm that good of a person to implement it.
Yeah.
Didn't work. And I feel like that kind of, the reason he was liked by the dressing room, he had the dressing room on board, clearly.
He's a great people person.
He's a great people person.
Really
and I
good
think
people
the
person.
worry is he signed 2 players, Flynn Downs, I'm name dropping now, I said I wouldn't. But Harwood Bellis and Flynn Downs, there's Russell Martin players. And I feel like...
But admittedly, watching them in the Championship, they were absolutely phenomenal. I could not imagine, watching Flynn Downs in midfield last 2 seasons ago, I would not have wanted anyone else in midfield for us in the Premier League, but unfortunately it just didn't quite
Unfortunately,
click.
it didn't work. I think there is a controversial take. There is a parallel universe not too far from ours that had Russell Martin winning the first couple of games in the Premier League. That could have seen a confidence run.
Well, that first Newcastle game, I thought we were unlucky not to do better in that.
I thought we
performed
should have
really
points.
well.
Brentford was 3-0, I think, on the top of my head.
Yeah.
So maybe not that, but I remember Nottingham Forest, I
Newcastle
think, was the second one.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we were still unlucky to get there. And it's
There's
again
some close games.
story of Russell Martin. Even Liverpool 3-0 in the Carabao Cup we were talking about. We should have been got a goal out of there or two. Man United 3-0. I remember early on we were dominating them, and then a poor counter attack which led to a penalty, which then kind of made us concede 3. But there are clear routes that we could have gone well under Martin. But I think that in the Championship I think Flynn Downs and Harwood Bellis, admittedly they are possession-based ball-playing midfielders. Yeah. I think, however, I think they need to be adaptable at the end of the day, and you need to be adaptable in the Premier League.
100%.
And that's what went wrong. And I think in the Championship now, playing under Will Still, who, again, when I thought he signed, I don't know about you,
I was really excited. I was
Yeah.
really excited. Yeah, I was
an
really
exciting
excited.
French coach, going down a division, and playing that kind of direct football. However, of course, you should have expected that we'd have the ball. It wasn't versatile enough to kind of expect having most of the ball.
Yeah.
We were playing in a half a lot. And again, that's kind of stemming from Russell Martin's kind of...
Because from everything that Will came out and said, it's him saying that it's the Russell Martin part of it, because it's not how he wanted to play.
No, and I think there was a Sky Sports interview that was filmed on Staplewood. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think he was talking about how a player said, can we even pass there? One of his players in training, and to say that is completely mental, and it clearly shows the effect that Russell Martin's had on these players. Yeah, and I think ever since he's left, they've not really backed the manager, and I think Adam Armstrong came and said it. It's like we've not been giving fully 100%, or we are now giving 100% to Tonda. And
that's the thing. The least that should be happening is giving 100% on the pitch.
I feel like at this club, the Southampton way. Again, I'd love a job in Southampton Football Club. God forbid, I think you would as well. Yeah. But just implementing the Southampton way, bringing it back to when we were the club that was doing things a bit differently. We were pioneering buy and sell in England.
Oh yeah,
we were there before Brighton. We were there before Brentford.
They're for Bournemouth even now as well.
Bournemouth now as well.
But
we were the original.
Academy.
the academy as well, kind of having that La Masia mentality of we're making the most. And I think we're kind of getting that back. I think credit to Sport Republic where it's due. The academy is pretty good. Amar Mayal, Jaden Momoma, Don Ballard. No, I'm going to say Don Ballard actually, but he's doing well in later.
He is doing
Tyler
well.
Dibbling,
Yeah,
sorry.
Dibbling, Robinson
as well.
Good players come out of there.
Again, and the academy's kind of doing well. We're playing Real Madrid for God's sake.
Yeah.
And credit Sport Republic when it is. But I feel like we need to kind of instill that in the first team. Being that club, it does things differently, but gets it done and fighting till the end. And I feel like we need to kind of bring that back. Yeah. And saying at the end of the day, you play for the badge, you play for the manager. You don't play for a manager we had ages ago.
No, you don't. But that, as we're brushing on Sport Republic, I believe you have a hot take about Sport Republic. Well, a hot take compared to the rest of the fan base.
I think Sport Republic in. I think. What do you think?
I am with you. So my thoughts on Sport Republic, I think they've actually been really hard done by. The recruitment, so the investment has very clearly been there.
I think I've looked. We had a season where we had a net spend of 140 mil.
Yeah.
And you don't do that with, we've seen it with our previous ownership. We need money. The first money that was pumped into the club, and since Chinese owners had it, was with Sport Republic.
Yeah, it was.
And look around. I know. Like normally the older fans go like, oh, it doesn't matter if we've got a fancy new climbing wall. But like the fact they've clearly got intentions to kind of commercialise everything. Admittedly, level 1, I've enjoyed it my time there. I don't think it was for me. But there's clearly intentions
I love it in there. I could spend all day in level 1.
Clearly intentions to do well with this club, and they're in it for the long term, and they have. Dragon has passion about the club.
He does, and
that's what you want from a manager. There is no doubt about that.
I think outside of actually playing football, everything is in tip-top condition. Obviously, we've got the Dell that's just open, level 1, and there's so many other initiatives that are doing well.
And I think, it's just recruitment, which is a massive need. You've seen Sunderland have completely changed their season,
but they have done the recruitment right. So in Sport Republic's first season, they brought in that I can't remember his name, the guy before Wilcox, but they brought him in, and then within a few months he was off to Chelsea. Chelsea had already poached him. I cannot remember his name for the life of me.
No, it will come to me. Do you know, at the end of the podcast I'll go...
You'll remember then after we start filming. And then after that, then we got Jason Wilcox. Who was the first time as a fan base we've seen someone go, no, that's the price, you pay it or walk away. And I really like that about when we're selling the players. Because we first got relegated as well. That's when we got a lot for Romeu Lavia. And I was really happy with that appointment because the sales were good, the incomings were good, and the all-round management of the club was really, really good. And then halfway through that championship season, as we're coming towards the end, I think it's like mid-game. Jason Wilcox hands in his resignation, goes on gardening leave, and off to Man United he goes. Yep. Then there's a big period of time that we wait for Johannes Spors to come in. To then come and take over. So I think Sport period of time has been really good.
Big period of time being the crucial time you need someone like Jason Wilcox.
Of course it is. But that just goes to show how good their recruitment has actually been. Other clubs, other big top 6 clubs want to take our lot straight away before they even get a chance to implement what they want to do.
And I feel like, but there's the lack of consistency. It took us a while to actually see it. I think it was until the very end we actually saw Paul doing well. Admittedly, playing under managers.
He was bought for Nathan Jones.
But sacked off 2 games.
Exactly. So it never really worked out. So it's all about that. But they have to do what the fans, because the fans wanted Jones out. Yeah. And obviously, they just bought this guy, but it's just because they bought Paul in, they can't keep the manager because of that.
Well, no, but it's common sense I think we've lacked sometimes. And I feel like, Paul being 6'7", not necessarily the most agile player, is not going to be for every manager.
Step overs by Paul.
Was that against Liverpool?
That was a great. He made himself a cult hero that day.
But I feel like there are some common sense questions. Why did we not replace our director of football after?
Well, I think they tried, but I mean, to go through 2 directors of football, probably within the space of a year.
Yeah.
And it's a lot because at the end you want to find someone that's good. Obviously, ultimately, we would clearly punch above our weight in finding people that are too good. But it's finding that right level. Even Spurs now, Juventus are after him.
Well, you say that, and I think I read something on Twitter of all places. I think there's a front runner, but that's not Spurs.
Is it? Well, that's good for us because at the end of the day, we need someone who's going to come in, who's good and going to stay.
Yeah, and I think we need to be a bit more consistent of not how quality the players are, but like how versatile they are. They need to be able to play a bit more. Maybe we need to just stick under a tactical philosophy. Hopefully, one that's more direct, because I think we've seen a lot of Burnley was one of them, and we were one of them, of clubs trying to play tiki-taka and not working.
It doesn't work. Unless you're Man City, you can buy the players in.
We need to be consistent for those players who can play that kind of direct football. We need to be consistent in who we approach as a manager, rather than constantly, Nathan Jones direct football, and then Russell Martin possession heavy, and then back to Ivan Juric. We can't be flip-flopping like that, because again, we've seen how
Well, it just has a massive effect on the players, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Because they have no idea what football they're trying to play.
Exactly, and it's like Watford.
Yeah.
We're just going through managers like it's nothing at the moment, and I feel like there's and there's also common sense recruitment in the terms of you look at the height and physicality of our team. Yeah. We've not had the players that have had the height, and it's been an issue that teams like Leeds have learned from. They've not signed players under 6 foot mainly.
Yeah.
They signed a tall attacking team because they expect to be scrappy. They expect to not have the ball, and they expect to be excellent on set pieces. And that's what you need to have in a Premier League team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Sheffield Wednesday are doing. They know that they're not going to be good players, so let's be good at set pieces.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen from some of the routines they had in St Mary's, they clearly had some ideas and trying to be a bit different. But I feel like we need to kind of have that kind of common sense, right? Will still wanted to cross balls into the pitch. We did need to win set pieces in the Premier League, but let's not buy anyone with any kind of stature.
Yeah.
And we still don't have that physicality, and I think we need to kind of think about things, and we're clearly not. And I think that's where it's been the downfall as well, just not that common sense. I think we've been looking too much into the statistics of players, and I think we just need to take a big picture of it and realise, there's always fun and games. This guy can score X amount of XG, but we've seen it against Swansea. XG doesn't really mean anything if you can't pile it into the net.
You've got to put it in the back of the net. That's the only thing that matters.
And we're desperately crying out for a striker.
When was the last? Because I've got a strong opinion on this. When was the last time you think we had a proper striker?
Danny Ings.
Yeah, same.
And I think his attitude was unfortunately a bit rotten at the end of it. He barged his way out of the club to get 30 million though off a man on 1 year left of his deal. Yeah, he was quite old as well.
Good
at that
business.
time.
Very good business.
And I think
the replacement.
Yeah, I think admittedly everyone wants a number 9. Everyone wants a good striker. If you have a good striker, everyone wants a good striker at the end of the day. And it's hard to replace him, but to get the people we've had in, like if you can name them through, Damien Downs looks a bit lost at the moment. Bless him, he's a new player and he's young, but we need someone in this championship.
He's been unlucky at the start.
We need someone to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Ross Stewart, injury prone massively.
Good when he plays, but bless him, he can't stay fit.
Yeah, tall Paul. Again, he can't play for Russell Martin manager.
No.
Che Adams, again, championship. He didn't play every game, but he had good numbers.
He did. I wasn't his biggest fan, admittedly, but he did put the ball.
He lacked consistency though.
He did.
Danny Ings had, scoring 20 goals. And it was just that Ralph, when we were top of the table with Ralph Hasenhuttl, with Danny Ings scoring that pretty good goal from a James Ward-Prowse cross in against Liverpool, when Ralph fell to his knees because I think he beat every single Premier League manager or every single Premier League. It was, I think, the day I felt really connected to this club, apart from the playoff final. And I feel like, it's those days with that proper number 9 you need. And I think we really need to get this one right in the January transfer window.
Talking about January,
would
you take James Ward-Prowse back?
Oh, I think I would.
Because he's been completely frozen out of West Ham.
I think he wouldn't be expensive.
No, not at all.
He's
they want him gone.
Aging, he want them gone. And I think he would.
Yeah.
I think, should he have left? I think fair enough. Going to find football, Premier League football.
Well, I think he regrets leaving because the only reason he left was to get England football.
But that's captain hindsight, I think. But I think if I was Ward-Prowse and I'd be like, you know what, I think I'm a Premier League player. He's a Premier League player.
Yeah,
there's a Premier League player in there. I would have been, and I think the club knew it. It was like, do you know what, mate? If we get relegated, we'll let you leave.
Yeah.
And he was in search for Premier League football, in search for that England cap. It's just not gone well, bless him. And I think to come back to St Mary's where it's all started, and to if we do get up, God forbid, soon enough, to score that record-breaking 1 free kick
to do it back
he
with
really
us
needs,
would make the difference.
I think would be exceptional. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would have him back, and I think he was never really the problem at the club. At the end of the day, he died. He was like Romeu. He ran his heart out.
Yeah, he did.
And he was a good player. He was a really good player under Ralph as well, especially good player.
Happy to see Romeu back.
I think again we've been talking about the mindset of these players being quite fragile. kind of getting away with it, or especially when they pass it round. A lot of the time, I think they look to each other to kind of get them out of the mess. Especially when you're passing it around the back, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'll pass someone else. I think Romeu is going to be the one to kind of get people over the line, to get people doing the second half, and to kind of, again, Southampton way, right until the end. And that, what first comes to that mind is that, that Leeds tackle. Again, on Rafinha, I think just says it all.
It's just his whole mentality that we need back here. I saw Shane Long was on a podcast recently, and he was saying everyone used to hate Romeu in training because he'd still 2-foot people.
Exactly.
We need him.
Well, I know the good thing about it back, it's guaranteed that Romeu to get one yellow card a game bet is back, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes,
good for the gamblers out there.
It certainly is good for the gamblers out there. You have some football hot takes. I know some of them are about to happen.
This one is controversial.
Go on.
I always said Russell Martin could work first year back, and Sport Republican.
But if Russell Martin was going to work, wouldn't it have worked?
What do you mean?
Well, you said Russell Martin could have worked.
Yeah.
If Russell Martin was going to work, wouldn't it have just worked?
He just got unlucky, I think.
Do you mean just with adaptability or injuries? Or
I think injury. Ramsdale played a massive part on it at the end of the day. We were making the most mistakes out of any team leading to goal, and that was a lot of it was when we played out the back. Of course, McCarthy's the shot stopper. He was never good on his feet, and probably so Joe Lumley. We had to have Aaron Ramsdale then. Getting him injured was a shame, but with these players, we've seen it with Ralph. At this club at the Ward, it seems like we always are really inconsistent with results.
Yeah.
Championship season with Russell Martin, we were shaky at the start. We were scoring last-minute winners against Wednesday in Argyle.
Yeah.
Had that horrible run. We're losing 5-0 Sunderland, I think it was.
Yep, 5-0.
And then we went on a glorious 26.
Unbeaten streak.
And then at the end of the season, wasn't that good?
Yeah.
So then with Ralph, we were either losing 9-0 or we were top of the league.
Yeah.
And there could have been a point where I reckon we could have gone on a solid run at the start of the season if we kind of hit the ground running. It was a shame we didn't.
Yeah.
And then things went worse, and then the confidence just went rock bottom. And that's the issue with, I think, the players. It's a lot about mindset.
Yeah.
And again, we need to be a bit more consistent in recruitment as well. And I think genuinely, Sport Republic have got. I'm happy they're here, and that's a hot take in itself, even with the fan base. I don't think it should be.
Well, like we said earlier, I don't think I think Sport Republic have done everything they can to do this right, and they've been unlucky with people coming in and poaching who they brought in. Yeah.
Well, okay, and also here's a question for you: where do you see Southampton in 5 years?
Where do you see Southampton in 5 years? It's going to go one or two ways for Southampton. We're either going to, 3 ways. It could take a couple of years in the Championship. 2 ways. A couple of years in the Championship, go up, or it goes really wrong. We go down, recover, and then go back up, and hopefully do what Sunderland did. Yeah. Go down, just recoup, because this club isn't going to disappear overnight. No matter what happens, this club is not going to disappear.
Well, I think it's obvious with Sport Republic's commitment to this place.
Yeah, Sports Republic are committed. I think they are the owners that can take us.
Just some fans don't want them. I think we have to say sorry to break to you, but they've invested so much money into this club, and as a businessman, you're not going to go, do you know what, I'm going to abandon what I've started.
No. From the outside, I can see why some fans don't want Sports Republic, but when you actually look at the situations of what's happened, I'd say they've done everything they could.
No.
Because, I mean, everything that went wrong internally as well with the Sport Republic structure that has now been completely changed with the leadership team within the club, they are fully committed to making this club work and making it a top team once again.
Yeah, and I think they do need to get it right quite quickly.
They do. Yeah. And I think there's a lot to fix.
And there's been some questionable, why did we not replace Wilcox as quickly, or why did we sign ex-players? Why did we hire Ruben Sellers from one game? Some of these questions where you're like, I don't get it. But I think, would you be happy with a few years in the Championship? Again, for us, it's great. We get cheaper tickets. The games are funny as always. I love the Championship. I prefer it to the Prem in terms of entertainment quality. Yeah. However, would you be happy to spend a few years in the Championship?
Well, first off, I can't see us going up this year. I can't. At this moment in time, depending on what happens with the manager and everything else, we could do, but right now I can't see us going up. So a few seasons in the Championship, I would be happy with, because if we go up and come straight back down, I don't want to be a yo-yo club.
No,
I really don't want to be a yo-yo club.
You really don't want to be.
But I enjoy the Championship more because we fight at the top of the table. We're a good side. Well, not right now.
Well, I mean, that's what you want to see from your club to win games.
It's exciting, yeah. Whereas in the Premier League, you feel like you get to a certain point and you stop. we got Europa League, then everyone raided our entire squad and it stopped. Because that league is just made for the big six, and it's very, very hard to break into it. I'm very happy that they brought out the Europa Conference League, because I think any Premier League team that gets in there, whether it's Forest, Palace, Fulham, Bournemouth, Brighton, I think any of them can actually win it. So whichever Premier League squad takes that Conference League spot, I think they can win that competition. So I think it's a good one to have. But in terms of breaking further up, with PSR and financial fair play, I don't think it's possible in this current format for a club like Southampton to get up there. But that does wrap up the episode 4. This is episode 4 of the Block 44. Episode 4 of the Block 44.
You looking to episode 5? Looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to episode 5. That's tomorrow.
Oh, God.
Filming that tomorrow, yeah. So episode 4 and 5 coming very quickly. But that does wrap it up. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe, because the majority of you watching this are not yet subscribed. So please do so, and then turn on that notification button so you can watch the rest of our podcast. But we'll see you next time at the Vitality Stadium.
Don't slander me for anything, lads, please. Thank you. I do check Twitter.